Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Against the Public. It's Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening on the East Coast, September 30th, 2023. We're on the eve of spooky season, which in this house is October 1st, 2023. My wife would start putting out pumpkins 1st of August if I let her. Not that I have any say, but we have an understanding at least. It's also on the verge of another week in the NFL, week 4. I appreciate you joining me as usual. We're the only segment that comes through early betting patterns by the public, tells you exactly where the money is going and where those wagers are a little bit misguided. Tonight we're going to go through 5 NFL matchups that have received the majority of the early money wagered. We're going to explain exactly why you need to run the other way with these games. Before we get to our games, I know it lengthens the video a little bit, and some of the comments were, hey, it's okay if it was a 30-minute show. I appreciate that. I've done 2-hour shows. I'm not trying to do 30-minute shows. But these are interesting things, and I think I'm trying to bring something that maybe others don't bring with their analysis, not handicappers, but like other shows, and kind of dig into, some different nuances. So we're going to spotlight a trend. We're really going to nerd out with this one because I'm always trying to find things that go beyond the obvious. I want to understand the psychology behind betting patterns. And today we're going to examine wagers against teams that have allowed 250 yards passing or more in 2 straight games. And you would think that after a couple weeks of doing that, you sit back and say, well, I know their secondary and I know how good they are against the pass. And you would be able to identify that team's weakness after seeing them play for making the same mistakes over the last 2 weeks. And what we're trying to uncover is another aspect of common sense betting that really doesn't have any place in the game and picking winners. But maybe it does so far this year. We're going to break down those numbers. And here are the ATS numbers when betting on teams who have allowed 250 yards or more through the air through 2 straight weeks. This season, betting trends show that it's best to continue going against those teams so far. We've had 9 situations where that was in play through 3 weeks. 2 in 7 ATS if you bet those teams. So that means the teams that have been poor are still poor so far. And that's where common sense does the talking. And one of these weeks, I'm telling you, you're going to get bit on that because history suggests that this is going to even out. Now, over the last 3 years, and I can explain this to you a little bit, over the last 3 years, going against teams that have allowed more than 250 yards passing in 2 straight games are 108 and 102. Winning record going against that trend. Even better when we go back the last 5 years, 239 and 222. Now, it's not overwhelmingly impressive, and you, money-wise, if you just bet that trend blindly, you probably would not, you'd break even at some point because it's minus 2.19 units over the last 2 years, plus 2.15 over the last 5. So it's break even, but here's the thing about that. When we're dealing with individual games, and I'm not trying to ever tell somebody to blindly bet a certain way. You want to take a game and say, well, this is a trend that we're looking at, and this is a trend that I can apply. And even if, I don't care if a trend is 1 game over 500, if you're looking at individual games, you always look at the record because that is what's going to tell you, hey, this is your percentage using this trend of me trying to win this wager. Now, if you apply that wager over the course of the season, we're going to look for a better trend because even money isn't exactly what we're looking for. But I thought it was interesting, and not really just because of this specific trend, but because I want you to understand the psychology of wagering, that always be in the mindset of expecting the unexpected. So the moral of the story is we often take what we just saw, we apply it to our next wager, and then sometimes we end up with a loser. And numbers will always tell you where you've been, but numbers will never tell you where you're going. You've had success so far, but watch out because I really feel like this specific trend at least is going to even out. This is even more important when you're betting total, so you can kind of apply that theory to the total betting, which might be a little bit more effective than even just the sides. If we're going with individual teams, the Detroit Lions, 7-1 ATS after allowing 250 yards or more through the air 2 straight weeks. Doesn't matter if it's in week 1, week 2, or week 15 and 16. The worst team, the Chicago Bears, 1-4 ATS, minus 3.09 units using this system. And those are the best and the worst using this system. I'll get off of it. I know it was crazy. It's a little in depth. Not that you can't handle it. I'm just saying I think it's me that can't handle it. My mind's going to explode. If you have any questions about sports numbers, feel free to DM me. That's kind of my thing. It's what I do for fun, I guess. You can DM me at Dana Lane Sports or leave them in the comments section on the YouTube page. Before we get to our games, I want to remind you right now at Pick Dawgz, I have my top 4 NFL selections locked and loaded. And guys, if you've been with me the last, all season, really, I mean, we've torn it up. So make sure, do not overlook these 4 games. There's a reason I'm saving them for my paid service and not giving them out for free. We're going to start with the Jaguars and the Falcons in London. We'll wash that down with Miami, Buffalo, New England, Dallas, and then Kansas City and the Jets as your get-out game. You can purchase each game individually or get my 3-pack for $54.99. Each game, of course, comes with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee. Another profitable day in college football. Now, there was a little bit of a snafu that was pointed out to me in the YouTube channel, which was great. I appreciate that. We went 4-1 today, and the reason why we went 4-1 and not 5-0 is because I didn't take Ball State out of there. Meant to put Texas A&M in there because we did do the breakdown of that game as well. But we'll just take the 4-1 because at the end that's what I said in the recap. So that's set. So 4-1's good too. Our record right now on the show, 39-15, 72% winners. We'll try to keep that going on Sunday. Okay, our first stop is going to be in the Hoosier State. Game number 263-264, Rams -1 at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts opened as a small 1-point favorite at home. 79% of the money has come in on the Rams, which has moved that line to the Rams -1. Now, the offensive and defensive lines, when I start the handicap, are always really where I start. And when you got a guy like Aaron Donald on your defensive front, you really can't go wrong. And I understand the Rams, in people's minds, really do have an advantage because of him. But if you look at DeForest Buckner, who is a 2-time Pro Bowler, you look at Grover Stewart, I think those 2 guys are probably 2 of the most underrated tackles in football. I think they have an underrated, I'll use that word again, offensive line. I think they're going to keep the Rams at bay. And of course, if you haven't heard, Anthony Richardson has been cleared to play, so he will start for the Colts after being in concussion protocol. We're going to go against the public here. We're going to take the Colts and the 1. Game number 2, game number 257-258, Denver Broncos -3. I guess. -3 in total of 47 at the Chicago Bears. Boy, I sure need to look into the best games of the week, and nothing but the best for you. We're looking at the total here after 57% of the money sent this number down from 247 from 45. This was easy to predict. I mean, obviously the Broncos gave up 60 or more for the first time in their history. This is the Bears, and this is Justin Fields, who has already started to play the blame game. We saw Alan Williams, their defensive coordinator, resign this week to focus on his mental health. Not many things are going good in Chicagoland. The Bears have allowed 25 points or more in each of their last 13 losses, which has been 13 straight. And if you throw that in a blender, you would expect there to be some high-scoring affair here. But I just don't see that. I think the Bears are a mess. I think you're going to have a Denver Broncos team that is highly motivated to wipe the taste out of their mouth from last week. We'll see exactly what they're made of this week. And I love to watch teams coming off of bad win or good wins or bad losses or high games, low games. A lot of times you get those type of teams, they come back and they play better the next week. We like Denver to be much more motivated than last week. We're going to take the under 47. Game number 3, Baltimore at Cleveland. The Browns -2.5, 38.5 is the total. So far, 97% of the money is on the under, which has given us some cushion off the opening number of 41.5. And we're going to be more than happy to take advantage of that 3-point swing. Of course, most of that is because the status of Deshaun Watson. He's questionable with soreness in his bruised shoulder, and word is it's not going to be until game time that we know. You know how it is. You look down on your phone and it pops up that, such and such a player is going to be active. We'll see. I think he's going to go. Personal thought, personal word that I've talked to people. We'll see what happens. If he doesn't go, Dorian Thompson-Robinson gets to start after a terrific preseason, if you remember watching him. Either way, I'm taking advantage of this overreaction. Let's go over the 38.5. Game number 4, Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles minus 9.5. 43 is the total. 64% of the money wagered is on the under, dropping that total from 44 to 43. And I think there's going to be some improvement from Sam Howell, the Commanders quarterback, and his offensive line. But if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, you absolutely have to be salivating after what you saw last week. The short field potential for the Eagles is there for a taking. You're going up against an offensive line that allowed Howell to be sacked 9 times last week while he was throwing 4 picks. The Bills scored 37 last week. I think Philadelphia's might be around there or maybe even a little bit more. Jalen Hurts and, of course, Andre Smith has been lighting it up the last couple games. I'm going to take the over 43 and this one. And finally, our 5th and final game, Cincinnati Bengals minus 2.5 on the road against the Tennessee Titans. The total is 41. 81% of the public money is on the under, forcing that number down to 41 after opening at 43. And I love these spots where teams are coming off of horrible offensive performances. The public react, which is the case with the Titans, who had 94 yards in total offense last week against Cleveland and their 27-3 loss. The Bengals are off of a terrific defensive outing against the Rams. You got one that can't move the ball. You got one great defensive team. Naturally, the public's going to go under. We need the Titans to keep Tannehill upright in this game, but I expect them to do their part. The Bengals will get most of what we need as far as the total. I'm going to go over the 41. Okay, that does it for our 5 games. Hopefully the recap is accurate. Indianapolis -1. Denver, Chicago under 47. Baltimore, Cleveland over 38.5. Washington, Philadelphia over 43. Cincinnati, Tennessee over 41. That should make our Sunday a profitable one and allow us to relax in the afternoon. A ton of early games, so enjoy that. And so by the afternoon time, Pacific time or evening time, late afternoon in the Eastern time zone, you should be counting your money and enjoying the last couple hours of football. That does it for Against the Public. Remember to go to pickdawgz.com right now. Get my NFL 3-pack, $54.99, or purchase each game individually. Each play comes with your Pick Dawgz win guarantee. And if you're confident in what we're doing here, purchase a long-term package to ensure your success throughout 2023. A 12-4 run on Pick Dawgz right now in the NFL. Absolutely on fire. We're going to keep that up tomorrow. Either way, please make sure you get involved. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for all the nice comments. Let's keep this thing going. I'm Dana Lane. All the best to you with your wagers on Sunday.